चलो, good enough. Let's start. और वेट नहीं करेंगे. Okay. अच्छा, as promised, what I'm going to do at first today, I'm going to talk about how to start preparing for optionals. We'll go for that discussion first, and then I have doubts. I have doubts from two people, and I would love to discuss those doubts. Okay, chalo. So let's start with the discussion about the optional subject, right? How to start with sociology, right? Today, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to use the whiteboard of Zoom. Rather, allow me to use the word. The I hope this word file is visible to everyone. Okay. Let's see how much time we have in our hands to prepare for the optional subject. Okay. And this is this whole calculation I'm doing, keeping in mind the requirement of 2024. Fine. Chalo. Let's see. Number one, today is 27th of August, 2023. Prelims is on 26th of May, 2024. Main examination starts from, let me check out the UPSC calendar for 2024, and we'll get the date of mains from there. Civil service mains in 2024 starts from 20th of September, as you can see here. I hope this PDF file is visible to everyone. Here is mains starting from 20th of September 2024, right? Good. Let's come back to the word file once again. Okay. So mains examination starts from 20th of September. Yes, when we are preparing for the optional subject, we also have to take into consideration the date of mains. In case of GS, as you have seen last week, I didn't take the date of mains into consideration. But in case of calculating the strategy or devising the strategy, yes, I'm going to take the mains examination into consideration. Let's start with our discussion here. Now see, the amount of time that we have in between today and prelims. Let's assume that someone is starting the preparation from today only, right? Let's forget about last week. Let's assume that someone is starting the preparation from today only. How should that person be devising the strategy for the optional subject? Okay. See, how much time is left in the month of August? Days in August, 4 days. 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. Right? September, 30 days. I know this calculation is very boring. It's very boring to do. Still, I'm doing it. I'm taking the pain here. Right? October, 31 days. November, 30 days. December, 31 days. January, 31 days. February, 29 days. March, 31 days. Okay. See, April 1st to May 26th, I would suggest please do not touch the optional subject, right? So from 1st of April till 26th of May, do not touch optional subject. But don't start this break before 1st of April. Why? Here, look at the amount of days we are being away from the optional subject. Practically from 1st of April to 25th of May, that is 55 days. 30 days in the month of April. Chalo, 26 days in May. So overall, 56 days. I would say let's be away from the optional even for anyway. What I would suggest is we can even be away from the optional for 60 days. Okay, but not more than that. This is one strict rule which I would suggest for you people. Why? See, the optional subject is a new subject to you. You have not studied the optional subject in your graduation or in your masters, right? If you be away from this subject for more than 2 months, for more than 60 days, to get back to the subject, to get the grip back over the subject, it's going to be difficult, right? So the gap between a candidate and the optional subject should not be for more than 60 days. That's the reason why I suggest it not before 1st of April, right? Till 31st of March, someone should keep on preparing with the optional subject. As the prelim examination gets over on 26th of May, no one can immediately get back to preparation mode on 27th of May. It's not possible, right? The grueling schedule a person will be going through, especially for the last 2 months from 1st of April to 25th of May, the kind of pressure, the kind of mental stress a person would be going through. It is unexpected from anyone, illogical practically, to expect from anyone that the person would be getting back to preparation mode on 27th of May. Not going to happen, right? In fact, my suggestion would be take 4 days of break. After 26th of May, take 4 days of break. 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. But by 31st of May, get back to preparation. Not more than 4 days. That break should not be more than 4 days. So by 31st of May, your books should be back in your hands. I know on 31st of May, you cannot put in even 8 or 9 hours a day. Not possible. Don't do that. But at least start getting back in the contact with the subjects, right? Especially the optional subject. So anyone who's going for 2024 and who's confident about 2024, who wants to make it, that do or die attitude is there, right? That person should be getting back with the preparation mode by 31st of May. So again, I'm looking at 31st of May, right? 1 day only. Then I'm looking at June, 30 days. July, 31 days. August, 31 days. September, 19 days. Okay. So let's count out how many days we have here in our hands. We're looking at total here. This is practically 60. Here again, I have 30, 31, 61, 61 plus 61. This is 122, 122 plus here I have 91, 122 plus 91. That comes to 213. Right? 213 days. That's what we are getting here. Fine. On the other hand, when I'm looking at here, it's a total of this is 92, 92 plus 1, 93, 93 plus 19. Okay, 103 and then 112. That's what we have here. So overall, the total number of days I'm getting is 213 days plus 112 days. That comes down to 325 days. That's the total number of days which are there in our hands. Okay, now let's see how to use them. During this particular phase, this period that we are looking at, 213 days, right? What I would suggest, divide this period in 3 phases, right? Maybe say 65 days plus, then in between there would be something last 65, so 130, 130. If I deduct from there, I'm getting 83. 83 days plus 65 days. That's how it's better to divide this 113 days here. Okay. That's what it should be, or that's what is better to do. Now, the first phase of 65 days, what one should do. That's the time only for reading, right? See, people, they try to start writing, they try to get in touch with the previous questions and all these things from the very first word go. I would never ever suggest that, right? In the last discussion, I told you that every day we need to write one précis, right? Take out one particular editorial or one particular article from the Hindu and write the précis of that article. For next 60 days, that should be your task, right? So if you can ensure that, if you can get into that regular writing habit for next 60 days, you will see that after the 60th day, already your writing skill has started improving, right? In fact, I'm adding something with it. Say you write for 30 days. Every day you're writing précis of one particular article from the Hindu, and you carry on that for 30 days. On the 31st day, don't only write the précis. Along with writing the précis, Take the first précis that you wrote, the very first précis that you wrote, take it out and try to correct yourself. Go for finding out the grammatical errors, try to find out the problems in the sentence construction. You'll get them there, right? Go for that. Do it. You will see what kind of mistakes you have been doing. Do that. Fine. And carry on with this practice for the next 30 days. So for the next 30 days, it's not only about writing the précis, it's also about correcting the first 30 précis, right? On the 31st day, take the first précis. On the 32nd day, take in the second précis. That's how carry on. Carry on with correcting your own précis. Don't show it to anyone else. You do it. Believe me, on the 60th day, you will realize how you have changed, how you have improved. Right? I need that to happen. Okay. So now let's start discussing about how to prepare across this period of 213 days with optional. I would say the first 65 days, the first day, that is tomorrow, collect all the material at one place, whatever you have, right? So the first step is collect all the materials which I have given you, whether class notes, the various PDFs and everything that's there. Collect all the materials at one place and arrange them according to the syllabus. Okay. Once you're done with that, don't take more than 1 day for this, please. Don't take more than 3 hours for day. So here, across this period, what you're supposed to do, this is multiplied by 3 hours a day, as we discussed in the last weekend, right? So that's what you should be doing. So don't take more than 3 hours to do this thing, to collect all the materials at one place and then to arrange them according to the syllabus. Do that. Once you're done with this, for the first duration of 65 days, now you have 64 days actually left in your hands. Only read these materials. Tally them with the syllabus and keep on reading them. Don't touch the previous questions right now. This is not the period for starting with the previous questions. Don't. Right? Once you're done with this, once this is done, then what you should do? The second reading. Right? This period. Not only you're supposed to study, right? Read the material, plus take out previous questions and try to write not the answers, right? Maybe daily one answer you can write. Write one answer daily, but prepare the structures of the remaining questions, remaining answers. Use last 5 years question papers only. Okay. Don't have to go beyond that. Today, after the session, I'm going to share the last 5 years question papers with you people. Okay. So go for that only. You don't have to go beyond this, but do that. Okay. Write one answer daily, but for the remaining answers, say I'm taking up one topic, say I'm talking about Karl Marx or Emile Durkheim, right? So say for example, today you went through all the notes of you studied Karl Marx properly, right? Or say you took 2 days of time for Karl Marx. Today you went through the first phase of Karl Marx. Maybe you started with his uh, methodology, right? Dialectical materialism. You talked about historical materialism. You understood the discussion about production, mode of production, right? That discussion happened. Maybe tomorrow you're going to take up the discussion about alienation, commodity fetishism, and then the class struggle. These discussions you're going for tomorrow. So today, what I would suggest, take out the questions which are there only from the first phase, that is on dialectical materialism or on historical materialism, or maybe on the missing link of Asiatic mode of production, or on the modes of production. Any if any discussion is there, take out those discussions or those questions. Write one answer. Take one question, write the answer. As for the remaining questions from these areas, prepare the structure of those answers. You don't have to write the whole answer. Just write what should be there in the introduction, what should be there in the body, what all points should be there in the body, how the conclusion should be written, right? So prepare the structure. That exercise should go on. You need to carry on with that exercise, please. Guys, writing answer is significant. What I'm saying right now is very important. Writing answer is significant. But along with writing answer, being able to structure the answer is equally significant. Because if you're not being able to prepare the structure of the answer, right, whatever answer you're writing is going to be completely away from the demand of the question. Your answer will not be according to the demand of the question. So along with writing answer, we need to focus on structuring the answers. Please do realize this, realize the significance of structuring of the answers. I told you about the 5 stages of writing a good answer, right? Read the question again and again carefully, right? See, what I'm going to say, it should become something like reflexes, something like muscle memory for us. Reading the question carefully, point number 1. Understanding the meaning of the question, point number 2. Understanding the demand of the question, point number 3. Meaning of the question and demand of the question are not the same, right? Quite often than not, say there are a number of questions where you'll find the question is divided into 2 statements. The first statement is for nothing. It has no significance with respect to the second statement, which is actually the question. If you have to understand that, you have to understand the meaning of the question, right? So yes, there is difference between meaning of the question and demand of the question, right? So read the question carefully. Point number 1, understand the meaning of the question. Point number 2, understand the demand of the question. Point number 3, now based on the demand of the question, structure the answer. That's point number 4. And then write the answer. That's point number 5. Clear? And just imagine in mains, while writing mains, you have to do all of that. Say I'm going for a 10 marker. I'm going for a short note. You have to do all of that in just 6.5 minutes. Reading the question, understanding the meaning of the question, understanding the demand of the question, structuring the answer, and then writing the answer. All of these things you're supposed to do in 6.5 minutes. Tell me about the reflex that you need to do that. I told you this examination is going to test your professionalism in every possible way. So please do that. Clear? At the same point of time, it's not only about structuring the answer and all these things. See, let's come to one more thing here. In case of long questions, you're going to have 13 minutes. But in long questions, you have one advantage, right? You do have 13 minutes, but there is only one question. In case of short note, in every 6.5 minutes, You have to read the question. You have to understand the meaning of the question. You have to understand demand of the question, structure the answer, and then write the answer. In case of long question, during the whole 13 minutes, you have only one question. So if you ask me, it is in the long questions I would suggest that you should be putting in diagrams. Do not think of putting diagrams in the short notes, right? Total, how many number of questions are you supposed to write? You're supposed to write 13 short notes, 6 long questions, 19 answers. That's what you're supposed to write. Out of these 19 answers, I would suggest you that only for these 6 long answers, you should be drawing the diagrams there. Don't even think about drawing diagrams for the short notes. Not an issue. You won't be losing marks. Believe me, if you work on your presentation, right? Yes, if required, use 2 inks. Use blue and black, right? Either you write the headings or underline certain areas using the black pen, black ink in the answer as well. You can do that and write the answer in your with your blue ink, or you can write your answer with black ink and underline or underline the important areas with the blue ink, or maybe write the headings with the blue ink, right? You can do that, but not beyond these 2 inks, not beyond black and blue. Okay, yellow is not visible, so never use yellow. Red, always leave the red ink for the examiner and the person who would be cross-checking the copies, right? That person would be using, or on calculating the marks, that person would be using green ink. So please do not use red and green ink. Please do not, right? You can only use 2 inks, or that's better. That's preferable to use only 2 inks, that is blue and black, right? So that's what my suggestion would be, that only for the long questions, do draw the diagrams, not for the short notes. But for all the questions, do try to highlight the important areas using another ink. You can do that. There's no problem in that. Okay. So that's how the work on the presentation of the answers. Even for your short notes, if the presentation of the answers are proper, you have divided the answer into paragraphs, wherever necessary, you have gone point wise, right? You have underlined the important areas. If you have worked in that way, if you have worked on your presentation, if the structuring of the answer has been proper, right, you will get marks. There would not be any problem. And then in the long answers, if you can draw the diagrams, right? And also do be careful that if you're drawing the diagrams, you need to write at least 2 or 3 sentences elaborating what is there in the diagram. Do ensure that. I've seen a number of number of online platforms, they just put in the diagram without bothering to elaborate what's going on and what's not. Please never do that. These are standard practices. Don't go beyond them. Clear? I don't want to know which particular topper did what. That if that is not the right procedure, please do not do that. You do not do that. Believe me, that will give you certain, at least some extra marks, some additional marks. Okay, so that should be the procedure how to carry forward. Chalo. So during the second reading, this is what we should be doing. Done. Then again, for the third reading, for the third duration of 65 days, right? Read the material and also go through your own answers and structures. Right? That's how the third reading should be done. That's how you should carry on with this practice till 31st of March. Okay? That's how the first 3 readings of the syllabus, the complete syllabus, should be done. And believe me, in 65 days, if you're giving 3 hours a day, the total amount of time that you're getting in your hands, some 195 hours, is good enough to go through the whole material, to go through the whole syllabus. It's genuinely possible, right? Now, once you do that, for this particular duration, for this last 112 days, what you should be doing, okay? For this duration, take out those materials and the answers that you have written, right? Say on 31st of May, that's the time when I will suggest you should be trying to understand the significant areas for the year. How to do that? Let me show you. We did this in the last crash course that we did, but still I would like to do it once again. Just to show you what goes on. Okay. See, this is what we look at. Sorry for this disturbance that happened in between. Anyway, just I have to close this file. Anyway, see, if I have to talk about the mechanisms we use to understand which all areas are significant for the year, these are the points, right? We try to find out the areas from where questions have not been asked in last 2 years, or the areas from where questions have not been asked in the last year, right? Especially if any area is like this, we do realize that that area of the syllabus has become really significant, really important. Similarly, areas from where only short notes have been asked in the last year, we do expect long questions from that area this year, right? For the areas from where both long questions and short notes, they have been asked in the last 2 years, we normally give those areas lesser significance, right? Or those areas from where questions are asked every year. So do know that questions would be asked from this area this year as well. So using these parameters, what we do, we try to find out the significance of the particular areas. Say, for example, if we look at this particular area of the syllabus, sociology is a discipline. What am I seeing? From the area modernity and social change in Europe and emergence of sociology, there was a long question in 2022, a short notes in 2021, again a short notes in 2020, again a short notes in 2019. So practically every year I'm getting a question from this year, from this area for last 4 years. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. So it would be safe to assume that in 2023 as well, I'm going to get a short note, not a long question, but a short note from this area, right? Similarly, scope of the subject and comparison with other social sciences. A short note in 2022, long question in 2021 on multidisciplinary, short notes in 2020. So if you ask me, I'll say, let's expect a short notes only. Not necessarily that I'm going to get a long question from here, right? On the other hand, this area, sociology and common sense, 2018, there was one short notes. 2021, there was a short notes, not in 2022. So again, I may expect a short notes from this area, sociology and common sense, this year. Similarly, if I go for sociology as science, what am I looking at? Science, scientific method, and critic. There was a short note in 2018. Major theoretical strands of research methodology. There was a short note in 2020, long question in 2019. Right? So this way, this analysis should be done. This analysis that we are looking at, this should be the first action. This should be the first work to be done on the 31st of May, right? So do the analysis and try to find out the significant areas for the year. Okay, once done, now I would say from the month of June onwards, this 111 days, right? Repeat what you did in the third reading. Take out the notes, right? Those areas which are more significant. At first, I would say go for the whole syllabus. Revise the complete syllabus for next 65 days. Okay, out of 111 days. Fine. For the next 46 days, focus only on the significant areas for the year. This way, practically, you're going for 5 sets of revisions. 5 sets of revisions of the whole syllabus. 3 sets of revisions are happening, or 3 sets of readings are happening before prelims, right? 2 sets of revisions are happening after prelims, but I need that to happen. If you go through the same things again and again and again and again, you don't have to mug anything, you don't have to cram anything. Things will be there with you. They will remain there with you, right? Believe me, after the first reading, after the first 64 days that I suggested you, you will feel that I don't remember a thing. Whatever I've studied, I've forgotten it. After the first 5 days only, you'll feel that what I studied in the first reading, first day, I don't remember anything. Say on the first day, you start with, I would always just go along with the syllabus. So the first day, say you studied rise of modernity in Europe and emergence sociology. On the 5th day only, you'll realize that you've forgotten everything. Don't come back. Carry on with what you're doing. Never ever look back in between. Just carry on with what you're doing. It's normal. It's absolutely normal not to be able to recall what you studied. Don't get impatient here. Keep your emotions under control and carry on. This is normal. Okay. But if you can ensure these 5 readings of the syllabus, right? 4 complete readings, 1 reading only of the significant areas that you found out on the 31st of May. If you can ensure that much, okay, believe me, you will not miss anything. Things will be there with you before mains or on the day of writing the optional subject. It will be there with you. But you have to go for these repeated revisions and this kind of approach. Clear? So if you ask me how to prepare for the optional subject, That's how one should go. I do promise I'm going to share this particular uh, word file with you after the session. This will be shared along with the other analysis that I've shown you. Yes, I'm going to share that analysis as well. Right? Doesn't matter. Go through them. Keep them with you. But this should be the strategy. That's how one should be proceeding ahead. Okay. At the same point of time, so this was the first discussion that we had practically about how to start preparing with the optional subject. Now I do
Excuse
have,
me, sir.
yeah, Rujita.
Sir, can I pose a question?
Sure.
So during the after the prelims, how do we need to number of hours that we need to give in for the sociology?
Again, 3 hours only. I don't need more than 3 hours.
After the prelims also
Even
for
after
the
prelims,
next
also I'm saying 3 hours, just 3 hours.
okay, okay, sir. Thank you.
Ma'am, even during these 112 days, if you try to study for more than 10 hours or 11 hours a day now, you'll be doing more
Hmm.
harm to yourself than doing any good.
Yes.
Okay. So even during these 112 days, not more than 11 hours a day.
Yes.
Not more than 11 hours a day. Please, never ever. And do realize this time you'll be having an additional burden of doing the same thing for ethics, integrity, and aptitude paper as well.
Hmm.
Though you have studied the ethics, integrity, and aptitude paper beforehand, you need to. During this period, this 213 days, you need to give some time to ethics, integrity, and aptitude. Do that. But that during that time, that 112 days, I would suggest exactly what you're doing for the optional. Do the same thing for ethics and integrity aptitude as well, right?
Yes.
Ethics, integrity, and probity in public life. That's the actual name of the paper. So do focus on that.
Yes, sir.
Clear? Sure.
Yes.
But for ethics paper, don't give it more than 2 hours a day. 2 hours would be good enough. While for optional, you're giving 3 hours. To the ethics paper, give 2 hours. Good enough, but you need to do that. Sure.
Yes, sir.
So that's how the preparation for optional should go. Now I'm coming back to the doubts which have been raised. I have got one doubt where someone is asking me that he or she has been studying ethics, the duration that we had for the last 1 week, the duration I gave for the GS paper or GS subjects. The person has only been focusing on ethics and faced problem. Yes, obviously you'll be facing problem. It will become boring. That's why if you ask me, I will always suggest divide the time given to GS into two halves. Say 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours, or 3 hours and 2 hours. Take two subjects at a time. If you are going only for one subject, it will become your preparation process will become boring. Not with respect to the optional. Optional will carry on. You'll find interest in optional. But for the GS subjects, if you're giving 5 hours only to one subject, yes, you will be having problem. It will become boring. So now, for the duration for GS divided into two particular halves. Okay, it can be 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours, or it can be 3 hours and 2 hours. Whatever you think is right. Accordingly, divide the time, divide that 5 hours, and take up two subjects simultaneously. Never for one subject. Okay. Achha. I have a doubt about on Karl Marx, class struggle of Karl Marx. Alienation and class struggle of Karl Marx, and at the same point of time, the social system and pattern variables of Dr. Parsons. I think I'll be able to discuss, given the time that we have. Let's only go for alienation. If we have time, I'll also discuss class struggle. Maybe next weekend, next Sunday, we'll take up the remaining topics. Next Sunday, although I don't think we'll be able to organize the session on next Sunday. Rather, I would suggest if we can organize the session on next Saturday, right? Instead of Sunday, if we can do it on 2nd of September, maybe 3rd of
Yes, sir.
September I would not be available. Yeah, yes,
Yes, sir.
we can do that, Pudvi, right?
Yes.
Okay. So next weekend we are going to meet on 2nd of Saturday, that 2nd of September, that is Saturday. Okay, sure. Let's go for this discussion, alienation. See, Marx was of the opinion, this is in Das Kapital. In this book only, Marx says that the capitalist mode of production is perhaps the most exploitative of all the modes of production. Okay, Marx says that look at the ancient mode of production or slave mode of production, look at the feudal mode of production. They were not as exploitative as the capitalist mode of production. Why? In slave mode of production, the slave, the laborer was a slave of the master, the property of the master. What more harsh can be? Marx says, no, no. The slave was the property of the master. Na? So if a slave dies, the master loses the property. So the master would take care of the slaves. The master, whatever the master does, the master would be exploiting the slaves. But still, the master would ensure that the slaves live. Because if one slave dies, the master loses property. Right? But in capitalist mode of production, the operation is so smooth, and the operation in a disguised way, it becomes extremely exploitative. Right? It is that mode of production where the bourgeois is not only happy by exploiting the proletariat, the bourgeois would also ensure, the bourgeois and the system, they also ensure that the proletariat under no condition can challenge the bourgeois. Right? To understand that, obviously Marx uses a discussion of infrastructure and superstructure. Marx says that look at the infrastructure, that is economy, that lays down the foundation of the society. All the other institutions, all the other systems, political system, educational system, these systems, they survive on the infrastructure. These are the superstructures which survive on the infrastructure. How come? It is the infrastructure or the economy which generates wealth, which generates resources, right? Resources and wealth are generated through the production process controlled by economy, which is the infrastructure. All the other superstructures, all the other institutions, systems, whether political system, judicial system, educational system, religious system, right? They all need that wealth to survive. Let's talk about the political parties. Without funding, without money, can the political parties continue with their election campaign? Can they contest the elections? Can they win the elections? No, not possible, right? Number two, even the administrative system, the judicial system, they need money to run. The IAS, IPS officers, they do need salary. They do need provisions. The judges also do need salaries and provisions for their own survival. At the same point of time, the court to sit, the court needs money for its operation, the electricity bill and everything, the building, the electricity bill and all the other infrastructures. It needs money, right? And that money, that resource is coming from where? It's coming from the infrastructure. So as a result, these superstructures, they all try to help the infrastructure to survive. Okay. So what's happening? In the capitalist mode of production, not only the bourgeois is exploiting the proletariat, the superstructures and the overall system of the society is also helping the bourgeois in carrying on with that exploitation. And during that process, they ensure that through 5 stages, they practically fool the proletariat. They practically ensure that the proletariat loses all capability to fight back against the bourgeois. And what are these 5 stages? Marx says, look at the production in feudal mode of production, right? One particular artisan using his or her skills, they used to produce the particular products. Say, let's talk about Kanjivaram sari. The weavers of Kanchipuram region, they used to use their skills and produce those saris. Kalamkari, right? Say, let's talk about the Telangana region. Some weavers in Telangana who used to go for these kalamkari handiwork. They used to draw with the help of kalamkari, right? So it's coming. It's we are using pen. They use pen to draw these diagrams on the side. So that way they are producing these artifacts. Now they used to do all these things very nicely. Why? Because they used to these products used to become their the identity of the workers. The products were not only products, they were identities of the workers. That's why you see today through the idea of GI tagging. What is the idea of GI tagging? Giving recognition to the people who work, because these works are their identities, right? So during feudal mode of production, the producers, they used to produce a whole product, and they used to work really nicely because these products used to become their identity. Say Tirupati Laddu, the halwais, the sweet makers around Tirupati who used to produce these laddus. These laddus were their identity, mark of their identity. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, so that's what Marx says. During the feudal mode of production, the product was nothing but a part of the identity of the producer. But see, in the capitalist mode of production, the product is not a part of the identity of the producer anymore, right? The laborer has no identity here. The product belongs to the company, right? Hush Puppy shoes, Bata owns Hush Puppy brand. Gucci, Wrangler, right? Louis Vuitton. We are looking at these kind of brands. And the products are owned by those brands. Louis Philippe, Van Heusen. Clear? So we are looking at these brands. The worker does not own the product. The worker has no association with the product. So what's happening? Alienation from the product. The product does not belong to the worker anymore. The worker cannot claim that that's my product. Number two, alienation from the production process. How? Previously, in the feudal mode of production, the producer used to do everything by himself or herself. They knew every part of the production process. In the capitalist mode of production, we are looking at conveyor belt mode of production, where the laborer only knows one aspect of the production process, does not even know what's happening in the other areas. Clear? So as a result, alienation from the production process as well. Gone. Third, alienation from the co-workers, right? Say in the same factory, various groups of people, they are working. But I only know those people who are working with me. I do not know the people who are working in the other process. Same product, say a car manufacturing company, right? In our area, a sheet is cut, which is then used for manufacturing one of the doors of the car. Maybe the left-hand side door is cut in our area. That's our job. Or maybe we cut all the doors, chalo. But we only get steel sheets and we cut the doors. That's all we know. We do not know how after we cut the steel sheets, what happens to the rest of the process. We just do not know, and we also do not know those people who are working in the other processes. There would be various processes. Na? Someone would be laying down the chassis. Someone would be fixing the engine on the chassis. Someone would be fixing the body on the chassis. So lots of things would be happening. We do not know what's happening there. In some area, electrical wirings would be done. In some area, the glass fittings would be attached. In some area, the spray painting would be done. We know nothing of these. And we also do not know any of those people who are working in those areas. Result, alienation from the co-workers. And at the same point of time, the bourgeois and the system would also try to promote competition between us, right? So because we are competing with each other, we would also not feel attached with each other, because to me, the other workers are competitors. The more productive I am, based on that, my remuneration would depend, right? The more productive I am, based on that, I will be recognized. In every company, in every factory, in every office, you know that there is a practice of recognizing the best worker for the month, right? A person is recognized, a photo of the person is placed in the name of recognition. More than recognition, it promotes competition among the co-workers. As a result, the co-workers can never ever unite. So alienation from the co-worker, that happens. The next, you see, why did the laborer come to do this work? Why did the laborer come to sell his labor power? The reason was so that by selling the labor power, they can earn some wages, they can take that wages back and feed their family. But what's happening? I'm seeing it, say the company has got a big order. The company has to fulfill that order. And the company decides, okay, from now onwards, every laborer will have to put in extra hours, overtime. The laborer will be paid, fine. They will be paid additionally for the overtime. Okay, fine. But tell me the amount of time that the laborer is giving to the company, to the factory. After that, when the laborer goes back home, the laborer does not have any energy left for the family anymore. The rest of the whole day, the laborer, say one day they get off, weekly off. Practically, the laborer spends the whole day either sleeping or doing some other jobs, the household necessary jobs. But to give time to the people of the family, the laborer does not have that luxury. Say the laborer was supposed to take the old parents to the doctor. What the laborer will do, will give money to the parents, ki you go, or will ask someone else, ki you please take care of them, you please take them to the doctor. Right? The money will be paid by the laborer. So what's happening? Alienation from the family. The laborer is gradually getting detached from the family as well. And when these four phases get completed, now the laborer starts getting detached from the self as well. The laborer starts losing the self. We have seen a number of people who become workaholic, who become completely consumed by their work. They get completely detached from their families. They forget even themselves. We have seen while interviewing or while working with various people, we have seen people who, while introducing themselves, even before saying their name, they say which company they represent. They say which company, from which company they're coming. Right? So tell me about these things here. Okay, this is what I'm looking at. This is what is happening. This is what alienation from the self. That too is happening. Clear? So once these five stages, through these five stages, practically the bourgeois break the backbone of the proletariat, break the backbone of the laborer, of the worker. Clear? And since, look at the third stage, alienation from the co-workers, right? Since that thing is also happening, neither the laborer, the proletariat, will be able to unite at the workplace. And given the fourth stage, that is alienation from the family, the worker will also not be getting that emotional support necessary. So after this, do you think the worker, the laborer, the proletariat would be in any position to challenge the bourgeois? No, just not. In a divided condition, they are nothing in front of the bourgeois. They don't have any strength in front of the bourgeois. That's the process of alienation. Okay. Today, I'm not taking up the other three areas I mentioned in the doubt. One was class struggle. The other two were Talcott Parsons, the social structure of Talcott Parsons and pattern variable of Talcott Parsons. On Saturday, on 2nd of September, I'll be starting my discussion with these three areas. Okay. I hope at least the concept of alienation is clear, right? Intentionally, I didn't mention the name of the person. Now, I need the doubts beforehand. But in the class, obviously, my concern should be to discuss the doubts. And to everyone, it's my request. Please share the doubts to me beforehand so that I can discuss the doubts here in the class. I think, Rakshita, you have a question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, do ask me.
So I had a confusion between mercantilism and capitalism. Which one paved the way of both, sir? Mercantilism or capitalism?
Okay. See, mercantilism, the idea starts rising from the idea of market economy, right? First, please try and understand that two words have been used by two separate groups of scholars, right? The word capitalism is used by the Marxist scholars more. If you ask me, I will say there is nothing called capitalism. What exists is market economy. Okay, so I would reject the word capitalism. Anyway, so the Marxist group of scholars, they describe the present mode of economy, the market economy that we are talking about. They describe that as capitalist economy or capitalist mode of production, capitalism. Okay. On the other hand, mercantilism, the word started rising from the uh, actions or operations of the colonialist forces, especially the British East India Company in India. That's how you came across the word mercantilism. The focus is market economy only, but here it is also a kind of exploitative mode where the market is not at focus. The idea is only one company by looting from the sources, how they can increase their profit margin. That's mercantilism. So the way the British East India Company used mercantilism in India, right? It was not a way of doing business. It was about looting from India, selling that in Europe, and generating profit out of it. That was the mercantilism of the British East India Company, right? But again, I'm saying this. The words have been used by two separate groups of scholars. The word capitalism to describe the present mode of production, to describe the present society or the present economic order, this has been used by the Marxists, right? To the Marxists, capital is a very bad word, and capitalism is equally a bad state in human history. But that's their perspective. Why I'm saying that? Because the more a society moves towards what we understand, see, I am a typical believer in market economy. I would always say that let's build a really powerful market. If you can build a powerful market with powerful regulators, right? Say SEBI, IRDAI, TRAI, Competition Commission of India, if you can really make them powerful and make them autonomous, and if they can really control the market properly, what happens? No one can tamper with the market, right? And information becomes freely available in the market. As a result, people they can decide what to do and what not to do, and accordingly they can carry forward. Here both the buyers and sellers, they get the advantage in the operation of the market economy, right? Problem is sometimes we do not see the ideal condition to exist. Ideal condition never exists, right? At times we do see that some of the businessmen, some of the business families or business houses, they are being preferred by the government, and as a result the market gets tilted. In this condition, even the market does not operate nicely. That's a separate thing. Let's come back. So during the British East India Company system, exactly that's what we were looking at. The British were not only, the East India Company was not only a business house, they were also the rulers of India. And using these two powers, they were practically looting India, taking those goods to Europe and selling those goods there, right? So that's what we understand as mercantilism of the East India Company. Now clear?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Chalo, let's end the discussion here today. Okay. We are meeting, as I promised you, we are meeting once again on 2nd of September. That is the coming Saturday. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.